Hi everyone, this is Lori from My File Addiction. Today I'm going to show you how to use a multicolored rhinestone font in Cricut Design Space. The steps I'm going to show you can work for lettering that has 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors, doesn't matter, just means you're going to have to do more steps for the additional colors that you have. Excuse me. First thing we're going to do is we are going to bring in the SVG file. So I'm going to go to my uploads. I'm going to select this file. If you notice that my particular files that I have for Cricut users will end in Cricut Brother. That's at the end of the file name right here. So I'm going to make sure that when I select from my files that are in my folders that there are 2 SVG files, and usually the second SVG file has the Cricut Brother added to the end of the file name. I'm going to select that one, add to canvas. Another way of knowing that you brought in the correct file is my Cricut Brother files will include a measurement note of some kind. Depending on the file that you are looking at or using, the wording will be labeled a little bit different and have you check different things. For my alphabet files, I always give the size for the entire alphabet, and this will be before you ungroup it, so you need to check the size before you move any of the letters around. And I'm going to look, and it says 16.788 by 12.983. This says 16.789. I'm not going to worry about that being off 1 digit, and the height matches exactly. So this file came in at the correct size, and what that means is the circles are sized correctly to cut a hole for an SS10 stone. All of my rhinestone alphabet files are sized for an SS10 stone. That is the most commonly used stone size. It's very important that after you check the file size, that you do not make any sort of adjustments to the size of these letters at all. When you do, that also adjusts the size of the circles. So if you were to shrink the letters or make them bigger, then the hole that cuts in your template will not be the correct size hole for an SS10 stone to fall into. Okay, so after we have verified that our file came in at the correct size, I'm going to ungroup it, and I'm going to delete this measurement note. So another thing with my Cricut files is I will automatically permanently group all the circles for a color together. So you should never see any individual circles over here. So as we can see, all of these are the outline color and then the 2 inside split colors. So all the pieces for there are no individual circles at all. It has to be done this way because if these were individual circles, once you go to the you select the make it option, which I can't select because I do not have a cutter set up. But once you do that, it will take all of those circles that are individual and it will basically just line them up in rows. So it will disperse and they will no longer be in the form of a letter anymore. So in order for them to stay as is, they have to be permanently grouped before the file is uploaded into the program. Okay, so the next thing when you're working with an SVG file is you're going to want to create a master copy of this alphabet. This way, every time that you come and use this alphabet, you don't have to do this next step. This will save you from doing that. And it's only for your rhinestone alphabet files. So, but when you are working with a rhinestone alphabet that has multiple colors, you want, excuse me, you want those colors to stay all grouped together while you're building your word. After you build your word, then I'll show you exactly what we need to do. So what you are going to do is you're going to want to come in and you want to select every letter individually and you want to group it. Okay, so you're going to go through the entire alphabet and do this. And like I said, once you do this, and if you save it as a master file, then you will no longer have to do that every time you bring up this file. Okay, it's only when you bring in the SVG file. So once we go through the entire alphabet, and what I've done is I have actually saved it as a master file. So I'm going to bring up my master file. I'm going to go to my stuff and I'm going to find my alphabet, and I'm going to customize. I'm going to replace. Okay, so now you can see all of the pieces that come in are all groups. Okay, we no longer see any individual letter pieces. Okay, so this allows me to select this letter, and now all three colors will move and stay. They're all together, so there's no shifting there. We don't have to worry about any of that. Okay, so now we're going to go in and build our word, and I'm going to make the word go lions. So I'm going to select G-O, L. Sometimes with certain letters, they're harder to select. These had spaces here that allowed me to select it. So sometimes you have to zoom in a little bit and to be able to select and move that over. Like that. Now I need another O, so I'm going to do Control D. That creates a duplicate. And then I'm going to select the N. Oops. And I'm going to go back. Select the N. Select the S. Now I can zoom back out a little bit. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to line our letters up. First of all, let's see, we're going to select. Okay, I'll select all the letters, and I'm going to go up to the align, and I am going to select align to bottom. Brings all my letters down and lines them all up to the bottom. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing for this, even though these kind of look like they're aligned already, but we'll just double check that. Align to bottom, and they didn't move. Okay. So the next thing you're going to want to work on is your spacing. Okay. The Cricut program has an alignment for spacing based on a vertical or horizontal spacing, but unfortunately it kind of glitches a little bit. So if I wanted to respace these horizontally, as you can tell, it doesn't really work. I don't know what, I've tried to select the individual letters and do it, but for some reason it's not working. The only thing I haven't tried is to select the first letter and the last letter. Let's try and see what that does. Nope, that doesn't even allow that. Okay. So for some reason, that function doesn't work properly. So what you have to do is, once you get your letters lined up in the bottom, what I would do is select a letter and use your arrow keys to kind of move your lettering and visually get the spacing that you want. Okay, so we have that, and now I'm going to take the go part and I'm just going to kind of visually put it here. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is we are going to get rid of the rest of the letters that we don't need anymore. So we're going to delete these. Now, because you are working from a master file, it's very important that once you've deleted these files or deleted those letters, if you want this master file to remain the entire alphabet again, do not override that file. Okay, so if I were to save this as is, if I save it, it will save it over this file, and next time you bring it up, it'll say Go Lions. So to avoid that, either when you hit your save or to exit out of here, it'll ask you if you want to save your project. You either say no, and that means it will default back to the entire alphabet again, or if you want to save Go Lions as a separate file, you would hit your save, and then you have to hit save as, and then you label this Go Lions. And what that will do is that will create a brand new file for you, and your Arial, your original file with all the alphabet will remain the same, with the entire alphabet in it. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we need to go through and now ungroup these letters. So I'm going to select on the word group here, and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to ungroup all these. And now we have all of our individual pieces again. Okay? So we have no more groups. Now, the next thing we need to do, if we were to leave this as is, if you go into your color sync, you can see that, it's going to, if you were to select Make It, it's going to separate this design into 3 separate mats, okay? It's going to take all the yellow pieces and put them on one mat. Unfortunately, it's not going to keep them in the same position. Okay, what it will do, the program's made to stack your pieces so you use the least amount of material as possible. If we want these particular pieces to stay exactly in the position that they're in, you have to use your attach feature. Okay, so what I would suggest you do is you bring up your layers panel. This would be the most quickest and efficient way to do it. And what you're going to do is you're going to select all of the pieces that are the same color. So I'm going to select all the yellow pieces. And I'm holding down my shift key to be able to select multiple pieces. Okay, I think I have them all. So now we're going to go and we're going to select, let me double check, looks like I do. Okay, I'm going to go select attach. Okay, so now when I select any of the yellow pieces, they all are attached together. Okay, if you chose, instead of doing it in your layers panel, okay, The problem you will see if you go through and you just start selecting the individual pieces, and I'll show you what happens. So if I start, oops, see, now this one shifted a little bit. That's what you risk when you actually start selecting the pieces. You do not want any of these to shift, because if you do, it's no longer going to line up perfectly on the inside of this letter when you go to press your design, because now that green piece shifted over a little bit. So we want to bring that back. Okay, I'm gonna bring this one out. Okay, so if we were to do this, I would suggest that you kind of zoom in a little bit so you have more control. Okay, but you'll see if you select and select all these. Now, once you've selected one, now anything in this box over here, these pieces, well, especially these two, it will not allow you to select them. So if I think I'm selecting these and I go through like this, and I select in here and not outside the box, and I go to this S, now when I zoom out, and if I were to move the, see, it never selected the I, O, or N. So that is a problem. So you can work around that, but what you would have to do is you would have to select, you would have to attach these pieces, and now you have to select, attach these pieces, and then you would have to select this piece and that piece and attach them. So it's a little bit more time consuming process, especially if you ran into the problem that I had, where you didn't allow you to select those pieces. But if you just had, say, one word and you could go right across, then you could do it from your layers panel or selecting in the letter itself. But just make sure that you do not shift that piece that you are selecting in any way. If you do, it will create and cause it to be misaligned. Doing it from your layers panel will avoid that issue. Okay, so these are all selected, and as you can see, I'm left now with just the outside pieces. And whoops, I do not want to do that. So I'm going to move this down out of the way. So let's see if I could do this. I probably, yep, okay. So since these are the last pieces, I could just marquee select everything and then hit attach that way. So as long as you moved them out of the way. Now, if you were to select make it, it's going to disperse these groups of circles, and they're going to place them on the mat, except for they will stay exactly like this. Okay, so they will no longer be placed on the mat in the most efficient way. So you will have gaps, you will have wasted material, and that's fine, because when you go to press this and you want this piece pressed in here, you don't have to press every individual letter. You should be able to press the entire thing and it will line up. Same thing with this piece. You would press this and it will line up. Okay, so I hope that clarifies on how to work with a rhinestone alphabet that has more than one color. Like I said, you know, the more colors you have, the more steps you have to do, but the steps for each color are exactly the same. So thanks for watching and have a great day.